Hello, my friends, and welcome to week 20 of Sacred Journeys. This is our final installation, if you will, in the series that we've been doing now for months, about 9 months together, all dedicated to finding the still point within ourselves, living from the place of calm, from the place of curiosity, from the place of compassion, from the place of openness and creativity, living from the deep waters within us so that we may be agents and sources of peace, not only for ourselves, but for all that we encounter, for all of life. This in our final edition, this week I wanted to talk about the importance of slowing down. And I'm going to begin with a short story and then talk a little bit about this. And then we'll have a minute or so of some slowed down together. So I was 19 years old, and I was at a mindfulness weekend retreat, just beginning to really get into all that I've ended up dedicating decades to in my life. And I was at this retreat and excited to be there and curious and sort of stepping out on my own into who I was becoming and the things that were important to me. And it was a Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, a very sort of rustic, campy kind of a place. And Saturday, we did what I thought we would do. You know, we shared in the morning. We heard from the teacher that it was a Buddhist retreat, and we heard the Dharma and we sat in meditation. It was just what I expected, and I was very delighted. And then we had lunch, and after lunch, the person who was leading this, the leader, asked us to meet outside in the circular. It was a very simple, as I said, rustic, campy kind of a place, and there was a circular drive, for lack of a better word. So it was sort of this, paved area that wasn't really fully paved anymore, had sort of as many cracks and things in it as anything else. And we all stood around. And what he said to us was, now we are going to take a meditative walk. And he said, I want us to walk slowly and be in silence, be in a single file, and be relaxed, but move at about this pace. And he demonstrated, and it was sort of pick a foot up, put down the heel, roll down on your foot to your toes, pick up the next foot. And when we started this, I bet there was about 18 or 20 of us. When we started, at first I thought, well, this is interesting. And then after a moment, I thought to myself, why are we moving so slowly? And then I got agitated a minute or two later, and so it went. About 10 minutes into this walk, I started to cry. These were big tears, literally like those big tears. They were hot tears, and I had no idea what they were about. And we kept walking maybe another 10 minutes or so. They continued, and I became softer and softer and softer. And at the end of the walk, we were to pair off with someone and share what it was like. And so this was a man I knew, a person I knew that I paired off with. And I sat with him and I asked about his experience. And then he looked at me. He was significantly older than me, but he was not elderly. And he said, I want to know what your tears are about. And I just sat there and I cried. And I said, I don't know. But it affected me a lot. And it was only because I slowed down that happened. And it didn't happen the first minute. It was not too long after that, about 6 months later. This was a very successful businessman who had had this exchange with me. And he was exercising on his elliptical in his home and got off the elliptical and had a heart attack and died. And that man and his question stayed with me until this day, through many, many years of understanding what those tears were about. So when I talk about the need for us to slow down, it's a genuine need in these practices of finding peace and finding our deep waters. It doesn't need to be formal, and it doesn't need even to be 10 minutes. But I will say that there's something that happens when we give ourselves 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but even 1 minute where you stop and you look out the window, or you stop and you look into the eyes of someone who's talking to you, or you stop and you put your hand on your own heart and you breathe. When times are the most overwhelming, the most difficult, the busiest, when we think we have no time, then is the time it matters most to slow down. So in whatever ways you do that and can find to do that, my invitation to you this week is to, at least once a day, find a minute or two or a moment. Take a breath, pause, sit, look, slow down. And maybe once during this week, you can do that for at least 10 minutes. And whatever you find, my friends, it's there to be a guide. It's there to help you know the still and deep waters of peace within you. So let's sit together now in shared slowness for a minute or so as we slow our breath, slow our minds, and slow our bodies together. May you go in peace this week. May you find and create moments of stillness, of slow. May you love every single moment and everything you find. May you find peace within yourself and bring it more and more into every part of your day.